everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. What's happening, gentlemen? How you doing today?
I do not ever pay attention much to college basketball.
Okay.
But yesterday was a little bit fun to watch. I mean, I could really care less, but I love watching when big schools fall.
Yeah, of course, right? The underdog story is always fun.
Well, it's not even that, like Ohio State. TCU is not a small school.
Sure.
But I like it that they beat Ohio State.
I mean, that's fair.
Siena actually gave Duke a run, which was nice. You know what I mean? They kept that really close in the grand scheme of things. I mean, the upset really of the day is North Carolina getting beaten overtime by Virginia Christian. I guess that's what it was. VCU.
VCU. Yeah. The thing about that game is a lot of us had picked VCU to win that game because North Carolina had, lost, I think, two of their best players.
Yeah.
But they were leading by 19. So
Yes.
I stopped watching that game. I was like, all right, this was done. I think we went upstairs for something. I come back. I'm looking. I'm like, it's tied? Like, what have I just missed, by tuning out on this game? So that was wild.
Now, there's some schools that have some key injuries going into this tournament. So
for sure.
Yeah, it was like I know Penn. It was unfortunate because usually Ivy League schools can hold their own. But Penn went in and had two of their starters out, and they just got railroaded. You know what I mean? It was like they got the proverbial train.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah.
But and I thought I could have swore Kennesaw State was going to pull off the upset. It was getting closer and closer with 2 minutes left, and I'm sitting there thinking of Bo going,
exactly.
It's going to be fun to talk about how he's the one that jinxed Gonzaga.
I'm glad I'm not the only one because I'm watching this game, Bo, and you're sitting next to me. I mean, what did I tell you? So that one was good. Kennesaw kept it, and that's a former Alabama player and coach on the sideline for Kennesaw State. So we were all kind of rooting for him anyway. So that one made it a little bit more interesting. But I was like, Bo, you want me to get you a beer? Or you good? Or you want me to drink water?
You're sweating it out over there, Bo.
I was watching hockey, so I wasn't. I didn't. In fact, after the show, I completely forgot to even do the bracket, so I don't have to worry about my bracket being destroyed because because yesterday we had the Seattle Torrent and the Kraken both play, so I didn't see. I didn't see much of the March Madness start here, but
it was a fun first.
I should have been watching that because it would have been better because both those teams lost.
Yes, yeah. Flyers pulled one out though late, so
they did pull it out late. Interestingly enough, both it's such an anomaly when both Philadelphia teams were on the road playing the Kings.
That's funny.
It is kind of a little funny. Both teams won, which the Sixers are doing it right now with three guys that, Grimes is playing for a contract, so he's getting a chance to really play. And, it's like between three guys, they scored close to 100 points. It was like 97 points between the three of them, and they won like 135 to like 108 or something like that. So it was interesting. And then, of course, the Kings are Los Angeles Kings are an okay team. I don't know if they're in the playoffs. I think that they are on the outside looking in.
Yeah, they're a bubble team.
So, but a win's a win. The problem is that everybody else ahead of us is also winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I guess maybe because of last night, the Kings are one spot ahead of the Kraken on their side.
I think there's a three-way tie happening right now. Their loss to Nashville also brings them right there tied. The Kings play again today, I think.
Yeah. I've got them at 72 and the Kraken in Nashville at 71.
Oh, okay. So they
that'd put them
ahead.
Yeah. Like, let's not pretend like I know. I'm looking, so I have no idea. I am trying to follow both y'all's teams because I haven't. So it's late for me, and I'm sitting here trying to keep up with the overtime score of the Flyers and the Kings. I'm like, I got to get to bed. Like, this is late, but here I am keeping up with that. And then, of course, the Gonzaga game was late too. Oh, and Donna, this is for you, Donna.
Is it Carolina anywhere close to you? Like, I'm trying to figure out if it would be Nashville that would be the team.
Oh, Nashville.
Okay.
Nashville is 3 hours north without any turns. Like, I hit I-65 and hit up. Carolina, you're talking 10 to 12.
I didn't know. Like, I know it's Raleigh, so it's not like in Charlotte, so it's on the far side of North Carolina. And I don't know enough about geography of North Carolina in comparison to Alabama.
Yeah, no, Nashville for sure would be our closest, or like Atlanta when they had an Atlanta team, I guess, way back in the day or whatever. So, but
right, the Atlanta Flames until they moved to the other side of the country and went to Calgary. You know what I mean? It's
craziness. Yeah, they're like, we want to get as far away from Atlanta as possible. You know what? Let's leave the States. We're done. Was Atlanta that bad that you felt like you had to take off?
Well,
you're going to find out as a Braves fan.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you, the funny thing about Atlanta is that their best performing team in terms of attendance is the soccer team. The soccer team will sell out Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which I affectionately call Megatron's butthole. They sell that out for the soccer. They can't sell out the Falcons. The Braves are wishy-washy in terms of whether they get, like, I remember going to a playoff game and being able, I had a ticket to get in. Somebody gave me tickets right behind the dugout because they didn't want to go.
To a playoff game, that's wild.
To a playoff game. Yeah. And, so it was like, and of course, we lost that game, and everybody's looking right at me because I was in that one seat that every time that there was a right-handed batter, you and the cameras forced, looking at the right-handed batter, and you see me in the background. So it was one of those types of situations. And so hockey and basketball have the same problem. Like they're number 3 and 4 and 5. You know what I mean? Like between all those teams, that soccer is what does the best there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Although all the other, Nick, like I told you, he's a Dodgers fan. He did try to. It's just proximity, and we're going to a game. We've got a friend who is a Braves fan who is married to a Red Sox fan, and we're going to one of those games. So I was like, hey. Plus, just to keep me involved in the summer. I'm not expecting much. One thing you can expect from Atlanta Pro Sports is heartbreak. The Braves fans are already telling to me, hey, be prepared for this. Falcons, we know the Falcons. And then even the Hawks, when they had the best record in the NBA, don't make the finals. I think LeBron knocked them out. So it's like, we just expect, you might be decent during the regular season, but it ends there if you're an Atlanta fan.
Atlanta's best year is when they lost the Super Bowl, subsequently lose in college also, and then lost the All-Star game. Like all in the same year. that was amazing for all of you Georgia fans.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment in Atlanta. But I will say that Truist Park over there, it's a gorgeous facility. The whole area that they have that ballpark is amazing. Like I said, it's just a beautiful spot over there. And every time I go to Atlanta to go catch a baseball game, it's great, and they know me down there too. It's the Philly sports guy precedes me. You know what I mean?
It's great that nobody's there, right? It's like walking into the gym and no one's in there. You're just like, oh, this is great. like good facility, no one here. This is perfect. You know, if you're going to Atlanta, great facility, no one shows up. You get free run of the place. I like it.
So, but you know what you should be able to do? How far away is Savannah from you?
I don't know, 3 or 4, maybe at best. I don't know. It's not.
You should be able to get in and take in some Savannah banana games. Since they have a whole league now. 6 teams in the league. It's the Banana Ball Champions League.
6 hours. Almost 6 hours.
Well, that's a little bit tough.
Yeah. And you lose an hour going there. So all of a sudden, you know, I'm on Philly time.
Well, you know, there's worse things to be.
Which is always a great selling point for things. Hey, man, it could be worse. I'm like, but it could be better, right? No, okay. That's not what we're going.
No, this is the upper level of it is here and worse.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
So
watch a bananas game day.
Listen, it's fun. It's entertaining to watch.
Okay.
So,
no, he's saying that Herb's going to ruin Banana Ball. That's what he's saying right there.
That could very well be.
Yeah.
You interject an Alabama guy into anything, and next thing you know, things are getting a little wonky. You know, there was a guy who came in yesterday. You know, other than the fact that he had one of those mustaches that when you see a guy wearing one of those mustaches, you're like, I don't know, buddy. No, he didn't have the curls, but it could have gone that route, but it was like over bushy and looked a little ridiculous. And of course, what did he have on his shirt? Bama. And I was going to go up and say something to him, but of course I didn't need to because it only was a matter of time before he was asked to leave.
I knew what he was going to go up and ask me. Hey, do you know Herb? Oh, no, okay.
So you're saying he had a Burt Reynolds stash, and I got you.
Yeah, but if you're not going to curl it, what's the point?
Huh?
Go all out. If you're not going to curl it, though, what's the point? Like, go all out if you're going to go for it.
I mean, or you just make it that super bushy, like 70s porn stash.
That's what it was. It was the 70s cop porn stash.
Hilarious.
Nice.
Get him some aviators; he'll be fine.
It was. Like I said, it took a little bit of time. He didn't come in there all guns a-blazing, but it definitely was. Eventually, he was asked to vacate the premises.
You don't like them doing a backflip catching the ball? Like, it's kind of impressive. Like, it's not good baseball, but it's entertaining. It's the Harlem Globetrotters, right? Like that's the way I look at it. Is you're not going to see, like, it's still a game, but it's gimmicky, right? So it's not as bad as the Globetrotters because everything they do would be, traveling. But
so as someone who has taken in 3 or 4 of these games already now, I have that it's a performance. This is a stage performance that a baseball game gets to take part in. And the one thing that I will say that he does better than anybody else right now is that he engages the fans.
Yeah.
And that's, if you want somebody, I understand that when you're a purist like Nick, that you don't want any changes to baseball. It's like, and I understand, like, hey, listen, even the shot clock or the pitch clock was something that we all had to get used to, and we're kind of happy about now because it has changed it from 4-hour games to 2.5-hour games. So I am appreciative of that because I go and take in a lot of games, so it saves me lots of time over the course of a season. That being said, the one thing I love about soccer, and I'm not pivoting away from baseball, is that it's 2 hours That's it. 90 minutes. We give a little bit of extra time, but it's 45 minutes continuous clock, 2 extra minutes, a 15-minute halftime, 45 minutes, give an extra 10 minutes maybe, and done. That's it. And 2 hours is done. And that's what I like about this as well, is that they're able to sing songs, do dances, engage the fans, put on a show along with playing baseball. And in the process of playing baseball, if they have to do a flip to catch a ball to try to do it and they miss the ball, is it the worst thing in the world?
No,
you know what I mean?
Again, it's a gimmicky thing, right? Like, so you're not necessarily going to Banana Ball expecting the best baseball game ever.
Right. These guys are, it'll be fun when there's somebody that winds up going from Banana Ball to the major leagues.
Right.
You see a lot of the major leaguers that are retired and they come out and they play, baseball with them, and it's like they have the golden bat where at the last batter of the game, if you want to put somebody on there, you can give them the golden helmet and they're going to go out there and take your last at bat for any reason. I kind of like that idea a little bit. You know what I mean? It's obviously, when you're at the bottom of the lineup and it's in the 9th inning and you got the 6, 7, and 8 guys going on there, and between the 3 of them, they're 0 for 14 in the game.
Yeah.
And you've got a man on base and you're down by a run, and it's like that there's no chance that any one of those guys is going to be able to do it. You walk out of the stadium. Well, if you had the golden helmet rule,
sure,
you could put your cleanup hitter as the last batter and give yourself a last hurrah chance. There's something that's backyardy when you're playing by yourself, throwing the ball up in the air and hitting it, and you're making up the scenario that, hey, the bases are loaded, there's 2 outs, the bottom of the 9th in the World Series type stuff. That's what I like, and I feel like that creates that imagination for children, because right now kids aren't imagining that because we have these. The imagination of anybody has started to deteriorate because we have phones.
No, I mean, that's fair.
Agreed.
And apparently somebody did join the Mariners from Banana Ball. All right.
Yeah, like that's the fun part about that. You know what I mean? That these guys are getting second chances where they are being seen frequently enough. It's like, I know that you're not going to have many scouts at Banana Ball games.
Of course. Yeah.
Because you don't need to, because they film every one of them now. Yeah. ESPN's looking for content all the time. So this is perfect content. That makes things great. So you could watch all of the tapes and pay attention to one guy specific, and the guy's going to get a chance to maybe go from Banana Ball to AAA and then maybe work his way up into the majors. I can't see anybody who's going to go from Banana Ball right to the majors and be a starter, but like I said, a competent backup, a competent guy who's going to be in the system, who could make some real money, that's possible. And just to finish it off, this guy went from nothing. This guy made up an entire game.
Yeah.
Right.
Out of nothing. It was like, the story is really Disney.
It's crushing too. Like, I mean, it was a slow start, but I mean, it's absolutely blown up.
Yeah.
Right.
And John and I are going to go to a game.
Yeah, and it's got its 15 minutes of fame. It's around minute 5 now. You know what I mean? I think it's got a full 10 minutes left to go, and in the grand scheme of things. And other people think it's at the 14th minute. That's not the case. You know what I mean? I think that this is going to go for a while. The Harlem Globetrotters were the same situation. And I like this better than the Harlem Globetrotters because Harlem's not winning every game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, and you can't fake parts of baseball, right? Like you can in basketball.
Right.
Baseball, there's, once you smack the ball, like it's going to go where it goes. Right. So you still kind of have to play an element of it. Whereas with basketball, they can run up the floor. And although that is, the new NBA rules anyway, it used to be traveling.
Yes.
So, a lot of what they did was, illegal moves that, you wouldn't keep possession of the ball in actual play. But when you're talking about even gimmicky baseball, you still have to play baseball.
Right.
So
and so that is something that you could specifically start to cover since there's not many people covering that. They don't put that on my score app.
No, that's because that's where it is like the Globetrotters, because nobody cares what the score was, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, this guy got this, he caught this fly ball in a backflip. Like that's what gets the highlight reel. I have no idea what the score was of that game.
No.
Well, plus you only score
highlight though.
Yeah. For 8 innings, you only get 1 or nothing. So that's the thing. The moment that you win the inning's over. So you could. That's the other thing about that. So if you score 3 runs in the first inning and the home team comes up to bat and scores 4, the score is 1-0.
And yes, Donna, I did not finish building that either. So my wife for my birthday got me this Lego set of a German Shepherd, right? And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I opened this, and these pieces are so small that I can't hardly pick them up, right? And so after like an hour and a half, I got through 2 of the 10 bags to build this dog, and like the pieces are literally like so tiny, like they're the top of this pen. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I almost would have had to start doing it with tweezers. It's ridiculous.
So you went from wanting to build a dog to building a puppy to like, I'm just going to build the tail. Here you go.
Yeah, it was basically the lower part of the legs, and I was just like, okay, I mean that feels good enough today.
Does it not seem that Legos have shrunk in size tremendously?
No, so your normal Legos are the same size they were when we were a kid. All of the knockoff stuff, which this one is, right? And how you know it is because the directions have Chinese characters, and none of the bags actually coincide with the numbers in the book. So you're just kind of guessing which bag might have the parts you need. Also, going through the first 2 bags of it, I found that that also doesn't matter, because I got to the end of what was supposed to be the first 2 bags, and there's a lot of pieces left. So I'm going to go with there's some other bags that are missing pieces. So none of the numbers matter. You're just hoping you can find the pieces, and they are super tiny. Like it is hilarious. I started to do a live building this thing, and I was like, okay, this is not going to work, because I'm over here struggling trying to pick up a piece. I'm like, okay, this is terrible.
Yeah, I just think that when I think of it, because as I'm looking up here and I have this one, and you have like somebody made that for me, and this cool. This block is even. It looks to me like it's smaller than they used to be. That they used to be a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker, and.
So the dimensions are the same. There's not quite as much plastic in them as they once were. So they're a little bit, the walls are a little bit thinner, but dimensionally they're the same size.
Yeah. And because I was just watching, actually, it's funny that we're even talking Legos. I just saw on Instagram, somebody actually built an actual Lego house.
Yep.
See, that's rad though. Like I'm
like
not
a
mad
full
at
Lego house.
I do love me some Legos, so I'm not mad at it. It's the I never actually get to do anything with them, right? But I got like this box of them. But like, it's one of those like you just like forget about everything for a minute. You're just like, oh, okay. Like building this dog was more just thinking about the frustration of trying to pick the stupid pieces up. But
I would almost enjoy if, and I'm going to bring this back into sports a little bit with Legos. The baseball card industry has blown up tremendously now, and it's like so much is going on. There should be a collaboration with Legos and building a player with a signed, and he signs a piece that is part of the building, and you put it together, and then you put it in this box, and it lives on the shelf. And the hardest part is obviously like all the faces are going to look like that, so it's not like you're going to get a really good, um, you know, Aaron Judge is not going to look like Aaron Judge. He's going to look like Lego Judge. But that's there's something to be said for that. Then those collaborations would be amazing. Yeah, where like, do you open the box at that point? Is the box easier to be closed and can remain closed?
I mean, that's the thing. That's what makes all of those collectibles valuable, right? Is keeping them sealed.
Not do anything. Yep.
Yeah. So you'd end up buying that, and then you'd never get to put it together.
But then it's like, how do you know that the signature is where that is? And like, you'd have to almost verify that. I don't know. I think it's
Schrodinger's cat. Right? There's a signature in there, or there's not, and you never really know.
That's why you have to stick like the big certificate in there with it, so the certificate is bigger than all the Legos. There's a big piece of paper that says this is signed, and then you'd have to.
That's how you authenticate it. You X-ray it. You're like, look, it's got the paper in there.
Yeah, but baseball cards have gone ridiculously through the roof. Baseball cards took over for what NFTs were trying to be.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That never really launched, the NFT thing. Like, it got popular for about 2 seconds, and then everybody was like, yeah, these are dumb.
Well, no, they realized exactly what it was. That was a straight out money laundering Ponzi scheme. That, like, oh, this is worth $100,000 or $1 million, and we're just going to put $1 million into this NFT, and it's worth $1 million all the time. And it's like a bank card almost. Whenever I'm ready to get rid of that $1 million, I just turn that in. The problem is that nobody was paying the $1 million for that, so people lost a good amount of money. But it was all new money people were losing. People that were making tons of money on crypto bought into the NFT market, and it just poofed.
The thing that is really going crazy right now is just ripping boxes, right? Like, if you're on TikTok, if you scroll at all, you're gonna get to one within a minute, right? If you're just doom scrolling through TikTok, you're gonna get at least one or two or maybe three, box rippers, and then they'll have some other memorabilia that they'll be selling too. But that's become such a big thing, and it's weird because I think back to like collecting cards as a kid, and then it really just kind of fell off for a long time, right? You didn't hear about anybody collecting cards or anything, and then it really blew up. Pokemon definitely was an element of it, but I don't know, like it really went crazy. And so now you see all these things. It's and these box rippers are, getting huge sponsorship and stuff. And you're just like, oh, that's wild.
Yeah. The collectible part of it has really gone up, because I remember as a kid collecting, but like those days are gone. It's like everybody's going for this and the value and all that stuff. And it's like, it feels like from the outside, all the fun part of it is gone, and everybody's just getting in it to see.
It is just the business
card. You know what I mean?
It is just the business end of it, because it when you think back to when you were doing it as a kid, not a single one of those cards be worth anything because you actually touched them and did stuff,
and did all this stuff. Yep.
You put them in the spokes of your bike if you had a bike.
Those ones were never going to be worth money, but
right.
But no, but you would do flipsies to whoever had heads and tails, you got to keep the cards. They were meant to be fun and to be able. That was the one thing that I thought baseball did very well, was to be able to explain to everybody who everybody was that played Major League Baseball. You had a card, and anybody who was paying attention, like every time you'd look at every card, you'd read all their stats, you'd pay attention to all of that stuff, so you knew everybody in the league. You
knew that one of the best cards in the pack was going to be the one that had the outline of the gum on it, So it was. It's funny though, because when you think back to that era, the cards weren't perfect. The edges were kind of, rounded a little bit, and now they wouldn't be worth anything anymore, right? So now it's, you yank that package open and you're immediately putting them into, protectors and whatever. It's just a very different era for sure.
Absolutely.
I still have a box of cards. Ain't none of them worth anything. They're all beat up. I still hang on to them because they're kind of cool, whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, none of them are going to be worth anything because everything is about having a perfect 10 card at this point.
Well, no, but that's not necessarily true. For instance, you think of the Billy Ripken card.
Okay.
That has the knob that has the original saying on that. That card, even as a 5, is worth money because it was a unique card. There was a number of different things. I have one card that I have in glass encased, and it happens to be the Eric Lindros pre-rookie card. It was before he got drafted, and it was the future star Eric Lindros rookie card. That card's probably not worth the glass that it's in.
Sure.
Right.
But it's at the time, it was, hey, this was, he's a future Hall of Famer. We're going to put this in glass, and one day it may be worth something.
Right.
One day I can actually open up that glass and put a real card in there, and it'd be worth something now. That's kind of how I look at that.
We're going to have a good one, Donna.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I
hope you're all right, Donna.
Fanatics Fest. They have all of these different players show, and but that's only a small portion of it. It's all cards. There's a whole, I want to say 100,000 square feet of vendors with cards, just trading cards and opening cards. They have a whole section where somebody buys, and they have the podcast area, the center area, the other area where that's all they're doing is ripping cards.
Yep.
And that's it has become such a business. But then again, I have a buddy of mine who's now taken that business a little differently. So he partners with players who are willing to have their jersey and their cleats that they wore for big games, national championships, Super Bowls, basketball games, whatever, cleats, sneakers, whatever they want, and cut them up into small pieces, put that in a card, sign those cards, design a card around it, sign those cards, and then distribute those cards. So now you're getting a piece of memorabilia that was in the game. That is,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
worth something. That is worth something, I feel. Because now you're getting a piece of history that like I said, he did this with Brandon Graham, and Brandon Graham took his jersey that he won, he won with his previous Super Bowl in '59, and you could get one of the stars that was under the C on his jersey.
Oh, that's cool.
You could get the NFL symbol that was on his jersey. Like there's different cards that are going to be worth a lot more, because if you get a little patch of just his green jersey, I mean, it's still cool to have, but it's not the same. If you get the swoosh that was on his cleats, that might be worth something. You know what I mean? I'd say so. There's a lot of different ways of going about that.
What's up, bro?
And it's just kind of interesting. I'd love to be able to do that one day. Maybe we get one of these rippers on here and talk to them and have him explain how somebody who's been in it for a minute, and it can explain how things have evolved, and that whole industry has blown up over the last 5 to 10 years.
It's crazy. I'm trying to. I can't find her in my Instagram. But she actually left TV to do this. So she was, a college athlete, and went into TV, and then left TV to literally do cards, which is that seems wild to me.
Yeah. Also shows you what kind of businesses it is, though.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? For sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I think about that. Like, I've been asked to rip cards on occasion. And when I was at the Super Bowl, there was a card ripper who I happened to just show up. He was using my table to rip cards, and I was walking around. I come back, and Gio, the podcaster, who was an Eagles podcaster, happened to be sitting at the table ripping cards with this guy. I show up, and he's looking at me like, wow, you're famous. Please rip cards with me. And I'm like, I hope I don't rip any of these cards, because I don't know how to open these packets nicely. It's like I'm doing my thing, and
they do have a process to it, right? Like they do open it. They open it really gingerly, like you're opening a bag of chips and you don't want them to fly everywhere. Right.
Right. Well, it just comes to find out that I had out of all the whole box that they ripped, I opened 3 packs, and out of my 3 packs, I have the best card of the box.
Nice.
And it was like a 1 of 10 signed card.
See, that's what's really cool about cards today also, is when you do get a box, like in that box, there are going to be some unique cards. Whereas when you think back to when we were kids, like you could have ended up with 50 of the same, just terrible Don Russ card. Like, so like, I remember, it was like the red Don Russ with like the black splatter on it. I think I ended up with like 15 Ed Reed pitcher for the Mariners back then. Not a good pitcher back then either, but at the same time, like I think I ended up with like 15 of this card. I'm just like, okay, this box sucks. Like, could we at least given me somebody? But no,
anybody at all. But then I remember, like, I would buy the whole set, and it was like $15 to $20, and then you'd actually number them, like they were all numbered, so you'd put them into the book 100% numbered. So I happen to have like a card that I know that has gone for $4 million. At one point was the highest purchased card. That number has been fully eclipsed by now. But it was a Barry Bonds rookie card. The same exact card that has only been touched one time to be put into the book.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I put it in the book. It stays in the book. I've never touched it in the book, and I'm almost afraid to touch it now. Like if I was to do it, I would send it out to go get graded with the whole page. Let them take it out of that book.
Right.
Oh, no question.
Yeah, because the book hasn't been like I keep it in a very dry space. It's in the dark. It doesn't have any light yet near it, and like it's and was not number one card anyways. So it's in like the early part of the book, rather closer to the binder than it is the outside pages because I didn't that's where it fell. But am I going to get $1 million for that card? Probably not.
No, I mean, that being said, I would maybe float it out there. Like,
I mean, and I was listening. What part of the house is the binder in? Just,
right.
Well,
just and it's funny because you know what solves money problems? Money.
So I have spoken to somebody about it, and the same guy who I'm talking about who started the collection of started to do it with his own line of cards. It's the Immortal Cards is collection that he's kind of begun, and he's like, we should talk about that. Like he'd be happy to take a 15% commission.
Sure.
On selling that card, and if it sold for $2 million, I'd let him.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
If you sold it for $2 million, we'd be best friends, Philly.
He'd sell you the rocket that you saw going into Alabama.
Huntsville. I may take another ride back down there and be like, hey, here I am in Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Hey, so how did Birmingham do? That we did have a football game, did we not?
The Stallions?
Yeah, didn't they begin last week?
I had not even been paying attention yet.
I didn't think the UFL started yet.
Yeah, because I know that they have opening game, right? Because the Stallions won the championship again last year, did they not?
No, they did not last year.
So
they broke their string because they had 2 in the old league and then the first one here, but not last year.
Okay. But I know that they were starting off the season, so I'm not sure when the UFL actually begins.
Yeah, I'm looking right now because I was like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't yet.
Yeah, March 27th is week 1.
Okay. Yeah.
So at Louisville. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, because then arena football starts like 2 weeks later. So it's getting ready for that. So let's go Wolfpack.
We only had arena football here for a short amount of time, and it was great for a minute. Bon Jovi owned the team along with Ron Jaworski, and eventually Ron Jaworski owned 4 of the 6 teams to try to keep the league going.
Yep.
And at that point, he realized it's like, listen, I own all of the teams. I'm not just going to float this entire league.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Arena Football League went bankrupt like 5 different times. So, I mean, it's just not something that has been able to really survive. And I mean, there's been times that it was amazing, right? Like viewership was good. And I mean, the first time it went bankrupt, it was the NFL actively trying to crush it. Now the NFL cares a little less because they print money downstairs and it doesn't matter anymore. But that's why they look at things like the UFL. They're like, oh, well, we'll just try stuff out in your league. We know you're in no danger of taking over our spot. But back in the 80s, they actively tried to crush arena ball.
Do you guys and I don't want to talk about other people's podcasts on here, but do you guys ever pay attention to the Rich Eisen show?
I catch clips. I don't generally have time to watch other shows too much.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat most of the time. But there was one show that it made me pay attention, and I actually looked it up, and they were talking about how the Super Bowl in Atlanta,
Right.
and does not have a date yet, and that it's odd that 23 months out there
Right.
isn't a date chosen for this Super Bowl. And the reason being that there is no date chosen yet is because the NFL has a new collective bargaining agreement players president.
Yeah.
And the reason why they are holding off is that they may be instituting the 18th game
Yeah.
starting in 2027. And if that's the case, that they will then, because it would be 2 buys and trying to figure it all out,
Well, they're
they'd
trying
have
to
to
end on
work
President's
out the schedule. So they don't want to.
They're trying to get it so that Monday would be a day off.
So you broke up there a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So basically, even if it doesn't go to
correct. But that would also mean that they may have to start.
Oh, you got some wicked lag over there.
Yeah. Yeah, because I could still hear you fine, Bo. I didn't realize that either. And I thought the players were like kicking and screaming to fight against the 18th game. I didn't even realize that was still.
No, because they're just going to get rid of another preseason game.
So weeks 1 and 2 can be even worse than normal. Is that what we're going
100%,
for?
100%, yes.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
So, well, ultimately, the other thing that's questionable holdup in this is the 17 game rule, that every player can only play 17 of these 18 games.
Oh, that's weird. I hadn't heard that.
So that's one of the things that they are floating in the process of that. Well, and that becomes really interesting because at what point do you put that into Constitution? Like, is it, do you have your starting quarterback not play game 1 and hope he makes it through the entire season? Do you figure he's going to be hurt, or that you're going to have such a great team that you're going to go the first 17 games he's going to play and you can rest him game 18?
Right. Or if 18,
are you, it's like, how do you deal with that strategy? You could never do with that. You'd have to do it like in the middle of the season or something like that. You can't go into the last season possibly with having to hold back your quarterback.
You'd be so mad as a fan though, because you just
for sure. For sure.
Like most teams' backups aren't good enough to really go win a game, especially when you know it's coming. Like when a guy gets thrust in there, there's a chance, right? Because there's no tape, whatever. But when it's like, oh, we know their backup's starting. Let's go get this guy. Like, I mean, you're scheduling a loss.
Yeah. Can you also though? Can you manipulate it? Like, is it games or is it quarters? Like, can I sit out my star guy a couple quarters? It's a whole game. See, like
it's a whole game.
If I go into game 18 and I'm forced to, and I'm playing for my playoff life, and I'm forced to keep my starter out, then it's like you have anti-tanking rules and all that kind of stuff for a reason. And now we're just like, let's throw it out for this 18th game. Like, I don't see the benefit, I guess, especially if you're losing more preseason in the first couple games. Or
so that's what I would do right here. Is you're losing the preseason games anyway, so you just use week 1 as a preseason game. You sit all your starters. You're just like, hey, you know what? We're going to start 0-1. It just is what it is.
Or you just winging it. You don't know if you're going to start 0-1. You just
Well, I mean,
if you both do it, then you've got a chance. Yeah,
exactly. The other team might do the same thing, and I mean, that's the way I would do it. I just get it out of the way because I wouldn't want that looming over me. Like, oh man, we're in this playoff race, and now we have to schedule a loss in here that might end our run. I wouldn't want to do that.
I guarantee the NFL will love that. All week 1 games or all the backups in preseason. So that would be awesome. Raj. And Raph did one earlier too. What's up, Raph? Appreciate both of y'all.
Absolutely.
And So that was one of the things that I was told about, or that they had mentioned. The other thing that's about to happen is that the NFL and the referees union are having difficulty coming to an agreement, and that they were ready to. The NFL has been staunch on the fact that they want to possibly have Division III referees come in to call the games, the pro games.
I know what the strategy for the refs are. They're like, if you think we're bad, it can get worse if you don't pay us.
We've seen it before is the problem. And we were the beneficiary of it in one of those games. I mean, our game is what brought the refs back, because they're like, okay, that was terrible, right? The Fail Mary. So it, it benefited us. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, the officiating up to that point was so awful. And then that happens and you're like, oh, so, I mean, next week we get refs back. Perfect. And as bad as they are, it certainly can get worse. It's one of the things I always look at with the WNBA, right, is they, probably up into this year, this year's probably going to get better, but they paid worse than college. So you didn't even get like the good college, referees. They, it would get the ones that are like, hey, we want the pro tag. Right. That's what it is. They're like going for the prestige end of it instead of, the money end of it. But it also meant that you didn't get great referees.
Well, and not only that, if there's so much money, the NFL has gotten in bed now with these gambling sites. And how do you the referees are playing it right. They're saying, listen, it's time now that this is my profession. I am a professional referee. I am not somebody who only makes enough money to then have to go back to work.
Yes.
Right. So
anyway.
100%. There's enough money. The NFL prints enough money that they can take care of this. Yes. I understand that they'd have to pay, like all of these salaries. But what are we talking about? Is the best referee with a ton of longevity making what? $750,000 a year.
Sure.
Is a referee crew making $2 million a year, a game for the entire referee crew.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we talking about here? There's so much money. The fact that they are willing to go and play this game and maybe die on that hill, that would cause a chink in the armor for the NFL. That would be the big chink in the armor. The moment that things get screwed up because of gambling, and people getting angry because of the NFL not protecting their brand well enough by putting the best person for the job on the field to protect the game.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. You can bet on whether or not they get a new deal right here on the show. Use the QR code on the screen, up to 125% of first three deposits, 10% bet guarantee. In case they don't, Nick, you're absolutely right. They should get betting out of sports, but also because they're not, you can bet right alongside us right here on Coast to Coast.
And to Robert's point, I would think the reason why you give them a raise is to keep those concerns about possibly do. But also, I don't think people realize how much scrutiny all of them are right now. If you see suspicious patterns in a game and this ref all of a sudden has a deposit somewhere, like I feel like those are the guys you're going to watch the most, because I agree with them. The refs are the people who can control it. So we appreciate you, Nick. But it is interesting. You can't hold people accountable for their bad decisions and then say, hey, you're only a part-time employee. Like all those workplaces, the full-time employees, those are the people you're on. The part-timer, he may show up, he may not. You never know, right? You're like, okay. And if your refs are part-time, they're like, whatever.
They're not quite. I mean, you're describing them like you're grabbing random people from work source here. Like, I mean, they are.
I watch some games and I'm not 100% sure sometimes.
I mean, but that See, and that's where the NFL can turn and say, look at Angel Hernandez.
Same here, Joe. Same here. Yeah.
That's cash bribes only. Yeah, I mean,
look at Angel Hernandez. I mean, that because of him having his being his full-time job and the union was protecting him, he was able to be a bad umpire for a long time. And that's the argument. Of course, he's the outlier, that is so bad. That was like, okay, well, now all right, well, you don't have an argument for that. But there's so many other umpires, that let's face it, there's 3 a game, and there are at least 15 games a day.
Yeah.
So is it 4? It's 4. So 4 umpires, on the field, and once you get in the playoffs, then you start to have 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you got to have the guy behind the watching the plate now. Who's going to be doing the
ABS,
the ABS. So it's, ultimately you could have as many as 7 guys paying attention to that. And then I guess whoever's in New York when they send that back for all the replays and such.
Right.
But I mean, ultimately, with as much money that the NFL is making, and like I said, when you're tied to gambling, it's it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. So,
well, and there's no way to undo it. I mean, that's another one of those scenarios where
you're already
once you rub that lamp, the genie's out. It's over.
Right. Well, they have Ed Ockley Jr.
They do, and honestly, he's not a terrible ref. He's not his dad, but he's not terrible. Because there are some bad ones.
Yeah.
But like there are some from that era that you kind of miss, right? Ed certainly one of them. Sarator was always good. Those crews rarely made huge gaffes, right?
Right.
And so for them not being for the level dropping off the way it has, I guess, is the disappointing part, because it's not like this scenario is different than it used to be. I mean, Ed Hockley was a lawyer, right? Like he went back to his law practice and all that. So it's not that it can't be done. It just isn't being done very well. And so they got to make a shift. Like they got to figure out how to fix this. And maybe it's just because they change rules constantly and make it, kind of hard to officiate some of these things. So not to say that they didn't change rules constantly in years past, but when you're looking at, how can you hit a player now? Right. Whereas before you hit a player, you just go blow the guy up. Like they just, try and rip his head off. Awesome. Now they're like, oh, your helmet might have glanced his face mask a little bit in passing. Boom, 15 yards. So, I mean, I don't know. Like some of that stuff would be hard to officiate. So there's that.
Just the taunting rule alone has got question marks all over it.
For sure.
I agree.
No, I mean, I don't think it started with that. They're
just the most high profile at the moment.
For sure. But I mean, like really once the old guard started retiring and these younger guys started coming in, that's when you saw this drop off. And at first you were like, oh, they're younger, they'll get it. And, now we're almost a decade into it. And you're like, well, I mean, maybe not. Maybe they just aren't that great at their job. So, like that could be part of it. That being said, we do got to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out with us this week. Be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff to you. Otherwise, stay tuned if you're on the radio station. Almost forgot that part. 97.3 ICU Radio. Got some smooth jazz headed your way.
Smooth jazz.
There it is.
The week is complete.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.
Peace.